So hello and welcome back to My Layout New Junction. Last time I showed you what's possible with a laser cutter applied to your model railway, but this time I thought I'd get to grips with the software and see what I could come up with. So now the trains have passed. Those of you who follow me online will know that I have been working on my very own version of Thirsk Station Waiting Room. Now here it is. This is the finished product, comes straight off the laser cutter and painting up. And in this video I'm going to show you my process about how I came up with this very kit. A little Thirsk Waiting Room. Now, I will warn you now, this video is going to be a very sit down and talky video, so if you want to see lots of trains running, I'd wait till the next one. But if you are interested in seeing more of the process, stick around and I'll show you how. So, my new waiting room kit that I have designed. So, this is the prototype, getting to grips with the software on the laser cutter. As you can see, it's, well, looks a bit like a waiting room. It is actually rather too large, so once I got to grips with how the laser worked, I then proceeded with trying to fine-tune it for the space I had, which then led me on to this, which is the what I'm dubbing the thin version of the Thirsk waiting room. Now, as you can see, it's quite narrow, but that's because where I wanted to put it on my station, I wanted to have it fit and not look too out of place. Now, the platforms themselves are almost scale length, so they are 5 coaches long as opposed to 6, and they are slightly narrower, so they fit my layout. Because of which I thought, let's go with the same math and make the waiting room thinner as well. So it turns out if you make it thinner but still leave it the same height, that it looks a bit odd. But we can see the difference between the two. And some of the features which I'm quite proud of so far, being my one of my first attempts, you've got things like all your the bricks cut out, you've got the window frames, you've got 2 styles of window, you've got the 4-piece window, the 3-piece window. I've even, just like Thirsk, managed to replicate the blocked-in window here on the back, and you've even got the door with an etched door handle. So I was really going to town. And rather fun with the architecture of the Thirsk waiting room is the building is lopsided. Now that's because on the high-speed side, where the trains don't stop anymore, the trains are now closer to the waiting room, so therefore I presume they've had to cut the side of the roof off, and it's just a bit lopsided, whereas the platform-facing side, the public-facing side, acts a bit more of a rain shelter. It's a bit longer, but that was quite fun to try and implement. So, how did I get to this phase? Let me take you a bit closer. So, this is where it all began. Now, as you can see, I have the plain sides pretty much done. I've got the one edge and one side. Now, these, of course, just mirror pretty much, apart from the door, and then go together as such. Now, the first thing I wanted to try and do is get the windows to scale, the doors to scale. Now, on the software, it does allow you to import photos onto the workbench, as it were, which helps designing, because you can instantly look at your prototype photographs. So, moving on to that, the first thing was to get this, and as you can see, it doesn't stick together, and we need to add bricks. So, this is phase 2 of the design. I added brickwork. Now, Lightburn does allow you to import images of, say, stonework and create a line tracing of that photo, which would then allow you to have some very, very unique brickwork to engrave onto your designs. However, I went with the array tool, which is basically create a single brick and then it multiplies it by however many you want. And in effect, you make more bricks than the size of the project you're working on, you overlay it, and it engraves to the area you wish. So, all very nice. As you can see, the join right in the middle perfectly matches. However, upon testing, which is a good job, it's easy to do, you can see if I put this sideways, you're left with a huge sort of gap in the corner because the material is 2mm thick and the brickwork is 1mm thick. So that had to change very swiftly, which brings me on to the next phase. Part 3 of the design aspect. Now, as you can see, if I put this corner on, you can see they now fit the brickwork, and it's looking quite neat and tidy actually. I was quite impressed by how fine the cuts were with the Falcon 2 Pro, which allows, well, a nice kit to be made. I also, as you saw on the previous one, have added the roof arch now because I'm starting to think about the wider build. I've also added the details such as the brickwork which form the windowsills underneath the main windows. Now, the reason I have done it here as opposed to make a hole and then add a window ledge is because it's single bricks as opposed to a proper window ledge. I thought it would probably be a bit overbearing to have it as a separate piece, so that's where my mind was going then. So that leads me on to the next part where I have now started to focus on the windows. So as you can see, I've got the 2 styles of window. You've got the 3-pane window which go on the ends, and then you've got the 4-pane window which go front and rear, and I've even done the infill piece of bricks which is matching the actual prototype building, because one of the windows has been bricked in. So it's quite a nice detail. If you're modelling Thirsk waiting room as Thirsk, you can do, but also you can keep it quite generic in how it originally was. So next we have the door and door frame. Now I could have done this as a flat piece like the window, but I thought it needed a bit more depth to it being a door. So what I've done is I've done the door frame which goes inside the actual the hole where the door goes, which is quite nice, and then I've got the door itself which can either be stuck to the back of it, which adds a bit of a 3D feel to it, or you can model it open or closed, etc. And I've even got an etched door handle on there, and I'll need to see if that'll come out with painting. Probably won't, but it's a nice touch in this at this phase, if nothing else. And that's how we got to this. This is the completed waiting room. Obviously it's the thin style, it's all glued together, it all works. We've even got a little floor, and the lip underneath the door really adds to the feel of a doorstep as well, and it's to scale and it fits on the station. I just wasn't quite happy with the size of this, and I think it was probably too much of a compromise, which is where the next prototype came in. Basically, using the software, all I did was scale up the sides to the actual brick numbers. Yes, I had to count the bricks on the images, so now we have the correct number of bricks either side of the window, and as you can see, comparing the two, it's much more realistic, and it doesn't offend by being too skinny. So this is the new shape. Now, as you can see, this one's not built, so what I thought I'd do next is to take you through the construction of my little waiting room. Just before I get the kit out, I wanted to show you this. This is a trial piece where I imported basically a picture of a roof, and the software allowed me to trace it instantly, and then I put it on top of the roof and engraved it onto one of the roof pieces. So I'm going to paint this up on the side and just see if it comes up clearly, otherwise we'll go for the traditional layered card approach. So here is the kit in its final form, and I'm going to run you through how I would suggest building it. So first things first, I want to cut out the primary pieces such as the front and back and the sides and the floor. They're the first 2 pieces that need to come out. Now there are some elements on this which I would leave on the sprue for now, because it's easier to paint them in situ than it is to hold them because they're finicky, particularly the window frames. So first things first, turning the kits over, you will see there are areas which haven't been quite cut through, like this, which need basically just finishing off with a scalpel blade, and then they will drop out nice and simply. So using my lovely T-gauge cutting mat, I'm just going to very carefully cut out the applicable bits. All being well, they'll just drop out. Now, next recommended stage is just finding the areas where the kit was attached. There'll be a slight lump. Now, taking a modeller's file, you only need to ever so slightly file it down so there's no lump. Doesn't take much. So once all laid out, it's time to start gluing it together, which is quite exciting. Now, I'm using this Deluxe Materials laser cut kit glue. Nice stuff, cheap and cheerful. Does what it says on the tin. Now, what I usually do with glues is, rather than apply them directly from the bottle to save some spills, I will find a leaflet, so in this instance rail stuff, and I will pour a splodge on it, and using a scrap piece of something, this is from one of my earlier kits, I will dab it in and then apply lightly to various points. Now, it's worth noting you want to be very light with the glue because it's strong stuff and it'll hold it together and also not affect the shape. So let's put this section together, and I would always recommend doing the front first, and when you put the front in and you're pushing it around, just be careful of this piece here because it is quite delicate. It's not ridiculously delicate, but if you're forcing it in anywhere, then it will be. So it's always worth having a dry fit first. As you can see, it slots in very nicely, and yeah, let's put it together. So as you can see now, the main building structure is just drying here, attached to the floor. Just needs a few more minutes to solidify, which won't take long with the glue. You could continue now and cut out the rest of the pieces and just add them in and have a nice construction. However, I would recommend leaving them on the fret, the smaller details that is, and painting them up. So the first step here is to actually use a varnish suitable for MDF and plywood. You give them a quick going over with varnish just where you want to apply the paint. So I'm going to do the tops, for example. It dries in minutes, very quick, and then you can paint them up. It takes a couple of goes, and in particular Thirsk waiting room is quite a nice colour scheme really. You've got these sort of brick tones of the bricks, obviously, white windows and blue adornments with the edges of the roof, etc., and the door frames. So very nice indeed. So now we're getting to the exciting stage. First things first, as I mentioned, we're using the Rustin's Clear MDF varnish. It says MDF right underneath this sticker. You can get this online, cheap and cheerful, dries quickly, lasts forever. Moving to the windows. So the windows are going to be white. I'll be using some Vallejo model colour. This is cold white. And then for the door frame, the door, etc., and then the roof abutments at the side here, I'll be using some Humbrol acrylic blue. Nice and simple, but very effective on the model. Let's crack on. Paint wise, I'm using the Rail Centre Brick Buildings kit, where you get all the different colours of brick in there, but for speed for this video I'm using one which is the grimy brown, and same again as with the glue, I'm going to create a nice pool just on the side there and then paint the bricks. Next we're moving on to the window frames, and I'm using the Vallejo Cold White for that. Then finally for the blue bits, which I'm painting the door, the window above the door, and then the sides to the roof, we have the Humbrol acrylic matte blue. So now the bits that needed painting on the sprues are painted and dried. I'm now going to turn them over and using the scalpel once again, cut them out and stick them in. And there we go. I think you'll agree the kit has come out quite well. It's taken quite a few trial and errors, as you'd imagine, but I think we're there. It fits well, it's the right size, and it paints up rather nicely. As you can see, I did add the textured roofing because I thought that probably looks a bit better than the flat stuff that you get, and then adding the card. So I might create a roof for the bigger waiting room on the other side. Now, I know what some of you will think. Some of you will want one of these, so I've printed off a handful more. So if you do want one, links down below in the description, along with all the relevant links for things mentioned in this video. So if you'd like to have a go with your own little modern image waiting room, links down below. But as ever, I'm going to leave it now, and next time I think I'm going to try something a bit more bold than just a small rectangular waiting room. I think I'm going to try my hand at a bridge that goes over my heritage line, a long-awaited bridge. Now that'll be interesting because we're not dealing with symmetrical brickwork anymore. We've now got random stones and all sorts of architecture to deal with. So I'm looking forward to that, but you'll have to stay tuned for next time. As ever, I want to say a big thank you to you at home for watching, a big thank you to the channel patrons, and of course, if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. But otherwise, I'm going to leave you to it. Say thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.